Morning. It's about 5:07 on Monday, January 5th, 2024. And I just got up. And I slept all night. And that's wonderful. And that's about the most perfect thing that could have happened for day 5, because this starts me off with a good amount of sleep. I literally went to sleep at I don't remember what time it was. I think it was 10 o'clock, 10:30, something like that maybe. So I got at least 5-6 hours of sleep. Solid sleep. I mean literally solid sleep. But now this melatonin is hanging around, but that's okay. If you don't fight it, and if you're not in a job, like if I was a stockbroker, I wouldn't want to do this. Because if you got to stay, if you got to jump into a high stress job right away, I feel bad for you because it kills you. But if you don't have to, which, office furniture, why the hell would it be it's not supposed to be a high stress job. It can be at times. I mean, if you're running a job with, 40 installers and 3 trucks are coming in today and you're delivering, say, 150 offices of furniture, and it's got to be done, each truck has to be done at a certain time, it can be very high stress. Don't get me wrong. But I'm not in that part of the business. I'm in the part of the business of making individual customers happy, and I really love this job. Because we go into places where customers are having a problem, and we solve that problem for them, And this is Knucklehead. I just gave her, before I turned on the video, I put some of her pumpkin food out, but it's a little bit cool because I keep it in the refrigerator. I open the can up. I don't give her the whole can. I give her like about a third of the can, because if you give her too much food, she'll eat it all up and then she'll puke it all up. So there's a limit to what she can eat at one time, but she doesn't know what that is. So anyway, she's doing pretty good. Ain't you doing pretty good, Poopy? But she's only supposed to be about a 10-minute or 5-minute video, but she gets on my lap, it might be longer. I don't know what my jobs are today. It's either in Charlottesville or Virginia Beach or all the way into North Carolina, but normally when it's in North Carolina they give me a heads up. So I work with a good crew of people. We got really good vehicles that I drive, so I'm very blessed. So all I got to do is be able to do my part. Now my left knee right now does not hurt, and I thought about today, and I normally wouldn't do this, but I thought about putting a ace bandage around it, wrapping it, supporting it. But if my knee's not going to hurt, I would rather leave my knee loose so that it can take care of itself. And this is what we do. She got into this habit now, where every time I sit in the chair, she wants to be here. I think she likes the blue jeans that I wear, and then my body heat, my 98.6 body heat, which my body heat's actually about 90. I think 96.8. So I'm cooler. My body temperature is actually cooler than normal, and that's just normal for me. But and I got a Earl Grey and peppermint tea in there under the Keurig thing, because the Keurig thing, mostly the thing I do with the Keurig isn't making like coffees and stuff like that. The thing I do with the Keurig most is I make hot water, and if you don't put a cup in the maker, all you gotta do is you plop it open, pop it closed, and you can get 10 ounces of hot water almost immediately. And then I put that into a coffee cup with 2 tea bags. It's usually Earl Grey and peppermint. It's very, very good. The peppermint, if you let it steep enough, which I usually let it steep about at least 10 minutes, which means that what I'm drinking is not hot. But if I let it steep 10 minutes, and you can take the bags out and squeeze them too, which you're not supposed to, but I do it anyway. And but the peppermint with the Earl Grey, the peppermint's amazing. Peppermint's amazing by itself, because if you're having like a breathing issue, or if you're having some irritation with your sinuses or with your lungs, man, it's like a warm blanket over your sinuses and over your lungs. It's really good, and it's herbal. And I use I usually, when I'm at Walmart, if I can find a Walmart Great Value peppermint tea, I usually get all of it at the Walmart I go to, because it doesn't come back. It's very strange. I think what it is there's somebody else buying that peppermint tea also, and they do the same thing. So we're kind of competing, you know, which is okay. It's pretty cool, because if I hit it one time, that peppermint tea will last me for 2 months or a month or something like that, which is good. But that's because I get 4 or 5 boxes. How you doing, poopers? Poopers, you chilling? She look at me, got her eyes all closed up. Spoil me, daddy. Spoil me. You little monster. Just a monster. Oh, so starting to wake up. Man, I'm so glad I went to sleep last night. I gotta tell you, if you want to go insane, start living 48-hour days, and you will go insane. You'll go insane. You will go insane. Your body's not made for that. I mean, our bodies are made for sleep cycle. Our bodies are made to go to sleep when it's dark, and to get up when it starts getting light. And that tells you what our times of getting up is. Our times of getting up are not supposed to be at 3 o'clock in the morning. It's supposed to be at 7 o'clock in the morning. That's when we're supposed to wake up and see the light, and the light sort of activates our brain, and we start our activities, which ideally back when we were cave people was, we were looking for animals to kill, to eat. We were looking for meat. And I'm watching this guy named Jeff, I think his name is Esper, and he's a mass food eater. And it's funny thing with me with fast. I always wind up eating I always wind up watching Beards Meat Food, which is a great English guy who eats massive amounts of food, but he's funny as hell. I watch a guy named Randy Santel and his girlfriend Katrina Eats Kilos. I watch a guy named Ben Dean. He is not a mass food eater, but he is I call him a culinary explorationist. That's a mouthful, but Ben is funny as hell. because he'll eat foods and you can watch him eat the food and you can eat it with him while he eats it. And he just did this thing where he said, all I'm going to do is eat Big Macs. As long as I can eat Big Macs, as long as I can stand it. And he got 10 days. And in the 8th, 9th day, he was making videos. He couldn't even look at the camera. It was so bad. And he look, to his credit, Ben didn't slam on McDonald's, which I had no problem slamming on McDonald's. And it's not because, look, I love the people who work at McDonald's, believe it or not, because they're just salt of the earth people. They're doing the best job they can. God darn it, the good ones are fantastic. And it's all because of the manager. And I have to say that, I'm sorry, it is the manager. Because the manager hires the good people. The manager reinforces the good people. The manager, now, you know, people talk about, whoa, they don't get paid enough. Listen, you can do a shitty job anywhere. I don't give a crap what you get paid. You can do a shit. Let me go get my tea. This is going long. And now I'm getting to something I'm really passionate about. Alrighty, I got my Earl Grey. There's my peppermint. Now this is, that's Bigelow peppermint, which I get that too. And that's Bigelow Earl Grey tea. And this ain't nothing but good. I gotta tell you, look, it's good. I don't know if you can see that, but it's good and strong. But yeah, good stuff. But anyway, like I was saying, doing a good job has nothing to do with what you're getting paid for, what you're getting paid hourly. It doesn't. I'm sorry. Either you do a good job or you don't. And you do a good job because guess what? The Japanese idea of doing a good job is not the Japanese idea of doing a good job. It's the idea of doing a good job worldwide. Worldwide. Okay? In Japan, they have a social stigma against doing a crappy job because it reflects on your family. Because it reflects on what you think of your family you should represent out in public. So if you do a crappy job, you're disrespecting your family. You're disrespecting yourself. And America has that same thing. Now, I don't care what the shitty news media says, who just fucking hates America. Well, they're getting their comeuppance because they've been doing a crappy job for the last 15 years. And now they're all getting fired. Because nobody wants to listen to their trash. Anyway, you can do a crappy job at any pay scale. And it's all on you. Or you can do a great job. And the one thing to remember about doing a great job is it's a habit. It's a habit. And what you do is you don't let other people drag you down. And you don't let other people say, oh, he's trying to be impressive. He's trying to kiss the boss's ass. No, I'm going to do a good job no matter what. I don't give a shit what you say. If you're so fucking stoned when you come into the job, that's your problem. It's not my problem. But it is my problem if you do things that might hurt me because you're so fucking stoned. Okay? There's no part where you coming in getting stoned and we're lifting something heavy up on the wall and you can't lift it. Now I'm going to go get some other people to help me. And if the boss don't like it, he can kiss my ass. You know? I don't know. I'm not going to throw you under the bus. I'm just going to say, look, he's not feeling good today, and I need some help. Because this shit's heavy. And I will tear my back out. Or my guts out. The scary part isn't tearing your back out, because normally, now I'm going to say that this is for me, if I pull a muscle in my back, if I work on it a couple of days, it's okay. If I tear my guts out, if I get a hernia, that's a life-changing injury. I had an asshole I work with. He got a hernia, because he was doing the stupid shit. He was lifting shit by himself because he was trying to be impressive. And he was this little skinny little Vietnamese American dude. And listen, I work with a lot of Vietnamese people that are wonderful, but this one particular guy, he was an asshole. But his thing was, he wanted to get done as fast as possible. And he was lifting shit up on the walls by himself. And I told him, I said, dude, don't do that. Don't do it. Please. You're going to hurt yourself. I'm like, okay, all right. Give me a call when you need to lift something. I'll help you lift it. And he wouldn't do that. He also put wall mounts up. When you do wall mounts, when you do a wall mount, there's a thing called a cleat. And you got to screw it into studs. And you got to use enough screws. Because normally you got to use like number, what was it, 10 or 12? It's either number 10 or number 12. I think it's number 10 by 2.5 either flathead or roundhead screws. Okay, and you got to use enough of them, which the very bare minimum is 2, but depending on if it's a heavy cleat, you want to put 3 per stud, and you got to hit the stud. It's not conditional. You got to hit the stud, because if you're lifting something up on a wall that weighs 120 pounds and it's going on a wood cleat, it's got to be screwed into a stud, and you can't strip the screws. So you can't, if you got to pre-drill a hole in for that screw, you got to make sure you use a smaller drill bit so that the screw actually bites into the stud. Well, this guy was Mr. I'm in a hurry, and he would put 1 screw in the stud, if he put the screw in the stud. And he did a job where we had to go back and redo all of it. It was like, I want to say 40 stations, and they still didn't fire him. Anyway, long story short, the guy lifted a heavy overhead up on the wall and tore his guts out, and he got a hernia. And I didn't feel sorry for him because he earned it. And I told him, I said, dude, you can't. He went out and he got his operation. Now you got to understand, this guy. This is where being an asshole workaholic permanently changes your life, and you're not impressing anybody when you do this. Anyway, he got the mesh in because that's what they do. They don't. The way they try to do surgery on hernias now is they don't cut you open. They try not to cut you open on anything today. They do this thing where they cut small slices, they blow it up with an air thing, and they put insert special needles in that they can work stuff in, and they work a mesh in over where the injury is, and they put the insides in and they stitch it closed without cutting you to pieces. The provision is, listen, don't be a stupid ass. I just fixed you. You have to take it easy for 2 months. You cannot lift anything that weighs more than, I think it's 30 pounds. Which means you essentially can't lift anything heavy for 2 months. And this is a light duty situation, which if you're in a job like mine, your tools can weigh 50, 60 pounds each. So light duty means, guess what, boss? I got to take 2 weeks off because I got to have this heal and sit around a little bit, get up and walk around. They do tell you to walk around because you can't let it stick together. Okay, you got to move enough so there's motion, so when it grows, when the body heals itself and that all sticks itself down, that you're getting that motion. You want it to move. You don't want it, but you don't want it to pop out. You don't want your guts to pop out. So Mr. Asshole didn't do that. Of course, Mr. Asshole was going to be special. So Mr. Asshole, I want to say I think he stayed at home. He might have stayed at home a week. And when he came back to work, he came back full bore. And I told him, I said, don't do this, man. Don't do it. I know where you're heading. Don't do it. I was like, okay, I get it. You're special. He came back and he ripped that shit out, I think in the 3rd week. And it was the same thing. He was lifting shit up on a wall with no help. He didn't have to lift anything up. And this brings me to another thing. I'm going to get away from Mr. Asshole. I want to get to this guy named Dave. Dave is my work brother. He's somebody that I love because he's somebody that boy, he's been through hell. And I didn't love him. I didn't love him a whole lot because he had a propensity for stealing tools. But I was to find out that the reason he did that was because Dave had been through fucking hell as a kid. And God darn, Dave, I love you. I'm not going to say his last name. Dave got cancer right here in his chest. I don't know why. The only thing I can think of was that he had he had cell phones that he kept there or something. The old cell phones, and he got cancer there. He went through hell. They cut a softball-sized chunk out of his chest here. They almost cut his titty off. And he came back to work. And at one point, all the time, I knew Dave before he got sick. He was working 3 jobs. I think 3 jobs. I know he's working with us, doing overtime. I know he's working Home Depot. Like 30 hours a week, 35 hours a week. He was a person that life had given him a very low sense of self-esteem. And we didn't know that until it became apparent and we started talking to him. Not just me, I'm talking about some other buddies of mine. We were talking to him because we saw Dave. We see you, Dave. We love you, Dave. And I would talk to him. This other guy that I work with would talk to him. Big fella. You know who you are. And some other guys would talk to him. And we'd find out things about his family situation when he grew up and how he was treated like shit. And but he came back to work. And this was after he had his shoulder chopped out. I'm not going to be able to. I'll take a quick shower, a 5-minute one. But this is a story I want to tell you. I want you to tell you about Dave. Dave came back to work with his shoulder cut out, and he was so sick. But Dave is a workaholic, and he's very sensitive about competing in the work environment with other people. He didn't want to be seen as sick. Dave was tremendously ill when he got back to work, and he should not have been. The company, the people I work with, I get it that cancer's not your problem, okay? But there's such a thing as being a humane human being. And people should have looked at Dave and said, Dave, we're not putting you out on installations because we know you. He should have been brought back into the warehouse. He should have been working in the warehouse. He could have done things in the warehouse. He could have built chairs, which are light to build. He could have moved things around with a pallet jack that would roll easily. We could have, but nobody. We work our work environment at that time was very cutthroat, and they brought him back. One of the things that we move in my business that's really heavy is a 5-high lateral file. It's a wide file cabinet, 5 drawers. And they weigh about, I guess, about 125 pounds, 150 pounds each. The way we move them without damage is we put a 4-wheel dolly down on the floor sideways, and then we tip it down. And this is the thing I want to tell everybody. Never lift something if you can tip it on a dolly and roll it, because tipping something means you're moving about 5 times less weight, okay? And if you're careful, you don't damage it. So anyway, Dave came back. Now you gotta understand, Dave had anything up to about right here, Dave was cool. But when Dave started going up like this fucking hurt like hell. And I could see it. And I told Dave, I said, Dave, If you need a 5-high lateral file move, come and get me. I'm available. I'm always available. All these guys are available. We're all available. You do not have to move 5-high lateral files by yourself. Okay? We'll put them down. You can roll them where they got to go and leave them. And we'll come and we'll lift them up. You don't have to, because when you get up underneath the lateral file to lift it up, you pull all these muscles. It's all an upper body thing. This fucking guy would not come and get us. And God, he suffered. And he, to his great credit, he came back and he went through 2.5, 3 months of hell. He put himself through it. But he started moving better. He started healing. But he never truly got better. He would have been way better off coming to get us and asking for our help. Ask for our help, please. We're your co-workers, man. We're brothers in arms and sisters in arms. If that had been a woman that I work with, I'd have said the same thing. Listen, and women, here's the thing. Number one thing happens to women, and you know who you are, especially in government jobs, because they are encouraged to do this. And my wife was encouraged to do this, and I told her, I said, don't do it, Wanda, don't do it. Is to lift heavy boxes with no help. And a banker's box full of files can weigh 30, 40 pounds. Which doesn't sound like much, but if you don't lift 30, 40 pounds every day, it's a lot. And you can tear your guts out. And a lot of women get hernias. So I would encourage any woman who doesn't want to get a hernia and who feels sensitive about that. First off, I encourage you to exercise. But secondly, I encourage you to get help. And just tell your boss, look, I'm not lifting that. That box weighs 40 pounds. And if I tear my guts out, it's on me. Because the whole idea of business today, even in the government, especially in the government, is that when you're of no use to them, screw you. Sorry, that's the way it works. Okay? So, but boy, oh Dave, man, and he got the cancer, came back. Now, when they cut this out, they had to pull muscles from his back over this way to cover it. And he had to relearn how to use his arms and everything. I mean, my guy, he suffered enough. And I haven't got back in contact with him. It's been years. I hope he's doing well. I'm just scared to death that when I try to get back in contact with him, I haven't heard anything from my other co-workers. And we're kind of a loose-knit family. I got a couple that I stay in contact with. That big guy I was telling you about, he was an absolute chain smoker, and I begged him. I said to him, I said, please stop smoking what you're smoking. He was smoking Cools every day, and I told him he's got this wonderful Hispanic woman that he married, and they've got 2 just insane little kids, just as insane as he is, and he's proud of them. And I told him, I said, dude, please stop smoking. Do you want another man to raise your kids and to take care of your wife? I said, that's not going to happen to me. Well, his dad died of, had like 3 quadruple bypass surgeries, which, he had 3 bypass surgeries. And boy, his dad suffered. But his dad was a trade specialist. His dad was a maintenance supervisor at a power plant, and so his whole life was spent making money and spending it and drinking and having the time of his life. But he did suffer tremendously from his smoking habit, and this my buddy I was talking about. God sent him a message. The message was, you're going to die if you do this. And how did God send this message? The skin below the knee on his left leg, all the way down to his ankle, fell off. About 3 layers of it. And it scared the piss out of him because they didn't know if they were going to have to cut his leg off. And he got very blessed because this is how fast the body can heal itself. He stopped smoking immediately because he was terrified. He thought he was going to lose his leg. I saw the pictures. It actually looked like someone poured. He said he didn't say this happened, but it looked like his wife poured hot cooking grease on his legs. What it looked like. But he says that the damn shit the skin just, and I would rather hear that his wife poured hot oil on his leg than what he told me, because what he told me was no, the skin discolored and then it just fell off. And that is a circulation issue related to smoking that I haven't heard of, but I believe it, and it's like a blood clot. If you get a blood clot in the leg, it'll stop blood flow to a certain part of the leg, but it normally localizes. This is a manifest destruction of the blood flow in the leg. Let me see what time it is, because man, I know I'm getting late. I got to get out of here, but I'm loving that I'm able to talk to you right now. Oh shoot, I'm about to split. I gotta go. Anyway, I hope I didn't split already. Anyway, God bless you folks. We love you. Have a great Monday. We'll see you later. Peace.